What up? I think it's Wednesday. I've been sick the last few days, so I haven't really filmed anything. Welcome to my Booktube Newbie tag, I guess. I wasn't originally going to do this, but then I thought, why not? I'm going to be mostly doing book stuff anyway. So yeah. Question 1. Why did you start this channel? Boredom. Mostly. I need something to do. This is entertaining enough and keeping me occupied, so I'm doing it. What are some fun and unique things you think you can bring to Booktube? Not much. Honestly, I just want to talk about books. There's not going to be anything particularly original. We just want to chat and read, you know. What are you most excited about for this new channel? New experience. I haven't done something like this before, so, well, a lie. I tried to have a vlog way back in the day, and I mean when I first started this channel in 2006. I tried doing a bit of vlogging in 2006 when I first started this channel. That was when I was in high school. And then I tried again sort of in my early 20s when my kid was little. It just didn't really work out. I wasn't really about it. So I'm doing it again now. This is attempt number 3 at vlogging. Why do you love reading? I just do. It's an escape. It's one of the only things that I can actually concentrate on for long periods of time. Reading and like painting are the only 2 things that I can focus on for any long periods of time. Like there is nothing else. I start a TV show, I get about 2 episodes in and I'm like, I'm bored now. I can't focus on stuff very well. This is one of the only things I can focus on. What book series got you into reading? Good question. I don't know. What book or series got you into reading? I might actually... Oh, it's upside down on the shelf and everything. There's this book. It's called Plenty of Ponies. I don't remember anything about it, but I remember reading it when I was a kid and loving it. I don't even know where this book came from, but I still have it. There was also Jessica's Mother. I love these copies. They're so old. They smell excellent. They're a bit dusty. I'm sure there's another one. Yep, this one, the Sagebrush Sorrel as well. I was a horse kid. I liked horses. Golden Stallion to the rescue. Yeah. There's a copy of Horse Whisperer somewhere around here. I loved that. Yeah, I think these kind of sum up like my early reading, which is kind of crazy because these aren't, you know, little books. There's also, if we take a peek up at the very top there where you can see my pop vinyls behind them, is an almost complete set of Animorphs books. I love Animorphs. I still love Animorphs as an adult. It's great. I could talk about Animorphs for a really long time. I might do like a rereading Animorphs vlog at some point because I really want to reread the whole series. Because I think the last time I read it was when I was pregnant and that was like 13 years ago. So I'd like to reread them. The other book series that I was really into as a kid was, of course, Harry Potter. I think a lot of people, most readers, were really into Harry Potter when they were kids. I have my first edition books still. I don't talk about Harry Potter very much anymore because reasons. We don't display those books in our house. We don't spend money on Harry Potter in this house. But that was another series that I was really heavily into as a kid. Sup, editing me. So another series that got me really into reading when I was younger, like in intermediate school, was this, The Dark is Rising. sequence. 5 books, Susan Cooper. I loved these. Couldn't tell you what happened in any of them, but I was obsessed with them, and as an adult I bought a set so I could reread them, and I just haven't yet. Another series that I really enjoyed as well, it was, I think they were called The Famous Five. I know it was written by Enid Blyton. But I really enjoyed that series. I remember there was a girl named George, and she had a pet dog, and I wanted to be her. I wanted to be like the cool girl in the jeans and the tank tops with the short hair. I wanted to be George. I loved her. I thought she was great. She was my book idol as a kid. I might do another video talking about or rereading those pony books, because I don't know, after I've pulled them off the shelf, I feel like I really want to now. So that might be up and coming, and I might do a video on The Dark is Rising as well, because I still want to reread that. What questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I don't know. What do you like reading? Where do you like reading? I don't know. What books do we have in common? Let's just talk about books, man. I have no idea, genuinely. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Editing. I edited my first vlog and I hated doing it. I don't think it's for me. If you're here looking for good quality or anything cute, it's not going to happen. I couldn't even be bothered to put backing music on, so all of the time lapses are just kind of that skittery, doing stuff sounds. The editing kind of just so tedious. But I'll get over it. I'll get used to it once I get more editing done and more practice in. It'll be fine. When did you start reading? Straight out of the womb, bro. I've been reading my whole life. I used to hide under tables at school, in primary school, to read instead of talking to people. My parents confiscated my bookshelf from my bedroom and put it in the hallway, because I would read with a torch under my blankets at night and I would never sleep. Which I think, of all the problems you could have, that's a pretty good problem to have. I wouldn't complain if my kid was doing that instead of sitting up on his Xbox, but yeah, I've been reading actually forever. People wouldn't be able to get my attention while I was reading. I think I got that 4th Harry Potter book and I read it in one day. And that's not a short book. When it first came out, I can't remember how old I was when it first came out, but I was in there and I was not coming out. Where do you read? Anywhere. I read in bed, mostly ebooks on my phone when I'm in bed, because books are awkward when you're lying down. I will read in the car. I will read on the bus, on the train. I will read while I'm waiting for appointments. I will read while I'm cooking food. I will read. What kind of books do you like to read? Anything and everything. I just enjoy books. I don't read romance, really, as a singular genre. I don't mind if there's romance in something. Something I don't really like about romance in books, though, is when a book says it's going to be about one thing and then it ends up being centered on a romance. That bothers me a little bit. I am struggling a little bit with fantasy at the moment, and science fiction as well. I think I'm in literary fiction mode at the moment, so I'm trying to get back into reading fantasy, and if anyone has any good romance book recommendations for me, I'd give those a go too. But I'll read most things. If someone says something is good and recommends it to me, I'll give it a go. What does your book collection look like? It's behind me. It's there and there and there. I think I just put my finger over the microphone. Stupid. My collection is not as big as it used to be. I have recently gotten rid of a lot of books while I was moving house and things, but I want to work it up again. A lot of my collection is actually ebooks, which I read on my phone, so I won't film myself while I'm reading ebooks at all, because I can't, because I'm using my phone to film. And yeah, that's the Booktube Newbie tag, I guess. My currently reading, I'm currently reading for my ebooks, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. That's for Gavin Reads It. Gavin Reads It All? Gavin Reads It All. He's just changed his channel name. For Gavin's Patreon book club. So I'm reading that. I'll be finished with that soon. I'm still reading Bunny by Mona Awad, and I have been reading Bunny for a month. Just like a chapter a week sort of shit. It's really weird. I can't sit down and just like continuously read it. I don't know what it is about that book. So I want to try and finish reading Bunny by the end of this week. I want to try and finish reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by the end of this week as well. And I also started reading Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. And yeah, it's good. It's really weird. It's such a weird book. But I'm just kind of reading a story at a time. But it'd be cool to finish that by the end of this week too, but I'm not fussed about Cursed Bunny. My currently reading physical books, which I'm still just struggling to get into, so I'm taking my time with it. I'm finding sometimes I can only read a few pages and then I have to put it down because I don't know. Fantasy at the moment, I'm really struggling. But yeah, I want to try and finish at least book 1. So get to here. Finish reading this much by the end of this week. I'm also currently reading The Real and the Unreal. This is again an attempt to get back into science fiction and fantasy. I love Ursula Le Guin. I have read these already. This is volume 1. I have volume 2 as well, which is on my sort of TBR. Once I finish this, I'll read this. But this is just going to be a story here and there. I'm not fussed about whether I finish these by the end of this year or not. I love Ursula Le Guin. She was a genius. And I wish that I could have picked her brain during her lifetime and just like learned everything that she knew, you know. The other thing that I'm currently reading is The Count of Monte Cristo, which is enormous. I don't care if I finish this by the end of the year or not. This is another one where I've read this before more than once, and I love it. I don't think I've read this translation before though, but yeah, this is going to be a slow read. I don't care if I finish this by the end of this year or not. It's just a book that I love. It's my in-between. My TBR. This is where things get a little bit crazy because I do have this TBR jar. I think there's like 20 books in there. I couldn't tell you what is actually in here. I don't remember. So when I pull stuff out, it's going to be a proper surprise. Some of the books I'm going to list off now are in this, and some of them aren't. But my physical TBR, and like these are just kind of for the end of this year. But I'm not fussed if I don't get through them all because I think there's some ridiculous amount of books. I think there's like 30 books that I'm about to list off. So The Picture of Dorian Gray. I mentioned this in my last vlog, The Castle of Otranto, Vathek, and Nightmare Abbey. I love gothic horror and like gothic romance. It's so fun. The Outsiders, vibes, love it. Read it every year. Haven't read it this year yet. Have to read this before New Year's. These 2 Roald Dahls. I'm just wanting to make my way through Roald Dahl, really. The few books that I have, Matilda as well. Those were gifted to my son. He never read them and he doesn't want them, so I've got them, so I'm going to read them. Dictionary of Lost Words. It's been on my TBR for a really long time, probably since it was released. Yeah, I'll try and read this by the end of this year, but again, I'm not too fussed about whether I do actually finish these by the end of the year because we've only got, what, like 6 weeks until the end of the year? 5 weeks? 6 weeks? 5 weeks? I don't know. I don't know how time works. My to-read ebook list is really extensive. So I've picked out, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 apparently, 12 ebooks up to be on my like to read list for the end of this year. Again, not fussed whether I get through them all or not. There are a couple that I do want to get through, but I'm genuinely not too fussed. We've got Almond by Son Won-pyong. I might mispronounce these names because my pronunciation of Korean and Japanese is not great, and my pronunciation of Chinese isn't great either. And some of these authors, I read a lot of Asian authors. We've also got My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, All the Living and the Dead by Haley Campbell, Miss Ice Sandwich by Miyako Kawakami, Slewfoot by Brom. That I do have to read in December because that's my first book for Reading with Merbs Bookymon readathon for 2024. Is how we pick our first Bookymon. I'll link the Bookymon thing down below. So I have to read Slewfoot. I also have How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Buckman. I've had that for a while and I just haven't read it yet. 1984 by George Orwell. That's a reread, but I really want to reread it. Two Trees Make a Forest by Jessica J. Lee. That has been on my list for a while of like, I'm trying to read more Taiwanese authors and Taiwanese diaspora authors, mixed race authors. And Two Trees Make a Forest interests me because Jessica J. Lee has a Taiwanese mother and a white father. Same. And I'm interested to see how her experiences sort of and thoughts kind of compare to mine when like learning about her family and the place where they come from. I've also got Minor Detail by Adiana Shibley. I just really want to read this book. This one I do have to read before the end of this year as well. I might actually read that next once I've finished my current ebooks. Last Words from Montmartre by Chu Miaojin. She was a Taiwanese writer up until her death in the mid-90s. I read her other book, Notes of a Crocodile, earlier this year and really, really, really enjoyed it. Last Words from Montmartre is considered to be like it is her final book. It's considered to be her suicide letter. I started trying to read it a few weeks ago and I found that I just wasn't in the right frame of mind for it, but I would like to read it. She's another one that's on my like Taiwanese authors to read list. And I also have Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, which is the only Anne Rice book that I think I've ever read, but I read it in high school and I would like to reread it and try to read the rest. I was kind of feeling in the mood for vampire books. I don't know, my big age, vampire books. I also have a list of comics, manga, graphic novels. And again, doesn't matter if I read all of these by the end of this year. I honestly, I would be happy if I got through like another 6 books this year before the end of the year. Like finish the ones that I'm currently on and read another like 2. That would be cool. The comics, manga, graphic novels list is as follows. We've got Moonstruck, Volume 1, Goliath, A Gift for a Ghost, It's a Good Life If You Don't Weaken. We've got Rat Queens Volume 1, Saga Volume 1, Paper Girls Volume 1. And for manga, we've got One Piece, Chainsaw Man, and I want to reread Tokyo Ghoul. Because I started it yonkers ago, like years ago, and I don't think I finished it. So I want to start from the beginning and go through it again. A lot of these graphic novels, I kind of have seen the covers and I like them, so I'm going to read them. Rat Queens I have read a few volumes of, and Saga I've read a few volumes of, but I want to start from the beginning again and like make my way through to the end. I haven't read comics a lot lately. The One Piece, Chainsaw Man, and Tokyo Ghoul I'm going to be reading in the Shonen Jump app. I don't have physical copies of those, so I'm going to be reading them digitally. I'm watching One Piece at the moment. I watched the live action because McKenyu was in it, and I don't know, I think he's, one, gorgeous, and two, I don't know, just a lot of fun. He's like, when you find an actor or a singer or whatever, and you just kind of like latch onto them and you've got to see everything that they do. Him, me, McKenyu. And so he's why I watched One Piece, the live action, and I really, really enjoyed it. So now I'm watching the anime and kind of struggling a little bit. Honestly, I do a few episodes and then I kind of clock out, and then I have to wait a few days to watch a few more episodes. But I think I'm like 50 episodes in now, so it's going, but slowly. So I think that's going to be a long haul. And whether I finish it or not, or actually get caught up or not, is a whole other thing. But that's fine. It's not that deep. But that's, my newbie book tag and my TBR. And now I think I'm going to go and try and read a little bit of this. Maybe read some ebooks as well. I might go outside to read. It's really beautiful and sunny. I've tucked myself away in this corner by my bookshelves because it's the coolest part of my living room without turning on the air conditioning. It's really hot. You fly. There it went. What was I saying? It's really hot, and like the temperature app on my phone says it's 18 degrees, but I think that's a lie. It's really hot. That fly is so distracting. It's one of those great big huge fucking blowflies, and it will have come in the back door because the back door's open, because it always happens. And I hate them, and they're annoying. But we've got what was I saying? I've completely lost my train of thought now. I might go outside to read. It's hot, but I'm going to have to put on sunscreen because the last time I went outside I got sunburnt. But the birds are really like birding today. Like they're real tweety tweet, and I love it. It's gorgeous.